In this video, I want to show you how you can set up the native file sharing dialog inside of your Lovable mobile application using the Despia SDK. It's super simple, so let's get right started with that. First of all, we are at lovable.despia.com and we have our documentation with the pre-built prompt inside of here to set up native file downloading. So let's see, what does this prompt do? It references the Despia native npm package. It tells Lovable to install npm install Despia native, the Despia native package, into your project. It then imports Despia from Despia native in the pages and components where we need this native functionality, and then runs Despia, and then in quotes, you set the URL of the file that you want to download. If you just write this URL to the Despia function, it will automatically load the file, download the resource, and open the dialog, the native modal. You don't need to use any of the commands to do that. You just need to kind of like get this file URL into the native system using the Despia function. So it's even simpler than the other SDKs. And yeah, then there's some important stuff that we need to add for the AI to make sure that we're following our documentation. But that's pretty much it and how it works. So let's copy this prompt here. Let's go into Lovable, and I'm just going to paste this inside of here. And I'm going to say, add a blue button saying download PDF that will download, let's say, that will share the file. And now I'm going to put my example PDF file inside of here. Again, this can be dynamic from your backend. The important thing though is it has to come from a URL. It has to have a valid extension like .pdf. Or if it doesn't have a valid extension because you're generating them on the fly, go into Despia, go to add-ons, and go to auto downloader and enable this. This will automatically download the files even if they don't have proper file extensions like .pdf, .png, something like this, based on the content header types that tell the file to download a file, that will tell the file system to download a file. So you can also enable that if you don't have an extension on your file, but important is it needs to be a hosted URL so it can download it from there. And then we're just going to paste this inside of here. So add a blue button saying download PDF that will share the file, and then I'm going to put this inside of here. Again, it can be dynamic. You can apply this to a dynamically rendered list, but important is that we use this prompt, and that's all we need. So now Lovable is doing the work in setting all of this up, and that'll take a little bit. Now Lovable is saying, I'll add the Despia native file sharing functionality with a blue download PDF button that shares your specified PDF file. Again, it works with every file, zip files, whatever you want. And then, as you can see, it's going through the process, setting this up. So let's take a look at this. So this is important. We are doing import Despia from Despia native. That is correct. That means Lovable is doing a great job so far. And then we have await Despia, and then we're just, loading this URL into the Despia native system. And then because it recognizes, the native system recognizes that this is a file from a file URL, it will then actually use the native dialog to show that and show the share model for the native file sharing mechanism and also download it. So there you go. We can now publish and update this. And now the nice thing is with Despia is you have updates over the air, meaning you can just update this in Lovable like I'm doing right here, and it will update it across all your users' devices, all your test devices, across all stores. It's 100% compliant and meets the regulations, but this is the power of updates over the air. So you don't have to wait 10 days anymore to fix critical issues. You can do them in a second in real time. How cool is that? So now let's get started here. Let's share my device and let's check this out. Let's open the application again, updates over there, meaning I got it all nicely set up inside of here. Let's ignore that. And let's download the file. And now, so you can see, it downloads the file and it's not sharing a URL to a file. What the native system is doing by using this function, it downloads the file. It then lets you share the file as a file, not as a file link. So we're actually using the native file system management, right? I can then do save to file, and you will kind of like see how then I'll be able to save it as a real, kind of like native file, and I can work with the native file system in that regard. So how cool is that? You can set it up like this. You can mark stuff in the file and all that kind of stuff. So you got all those native functionalities, delete PDF. There you go. You got all that kind of functionality, and it gives you this beautiful native modal popping up here. And that's how you do native file share. That's how simple that can be, thanks to Despia, the Despia SDK, and Lovable. So I can't wait to see in the next video where we're going to talk about even more exciting native functionalities and how you can get them into your Lovable application to make it a true native mobile application. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.